So I had an experience recently that taught me a lot about marriage. And of course, this story will be about Hamilton, the musical. So my husband, George, is obsessed with Hamilton, the musical. This has been going on for about 8 months. He knows the entire soundtrack by heart. He plays it all the time. He sings it all the time. He will bring up Hamilton in any conversation, regardless of what you're actually talking about. He'll find an entry point. He's bought all the books. He's read all the articles. He's watched all the YouTube videos. And I understand this kind of obsession because, you know, marriage is about understanding, right? So I also obsess. In fact, both of us as kids, I was obsessed with Duran Duran, and George was obsessed with Dungeons and Dragons. At one point, we were both obsessed with the movie Midnight in Paris, and we went to see that 11 weekends in a row in the theater together. I also tend to obsess about restaurants, but not the whole restaurant. I obsess over one item on the menu of that restaurant. And in fact, it's usually one ingredient in the item on the menu. So, you know, needless to say, this obsession thing is a place where we connect. The problem with Hamilton, the musical, is that unlike Midnight in Paris, you can't just go to Hamilton. You know, it's Hamilton. Like, it's sold out forever. And of course, there are these resale ticket sites, but the tickets start at about $815 per ticket, and up to like, you know, $8,000. So this has long been a point of frustration for George, obviously. And we were in New York over Christmas time, and it was the Friday before Christmas, and we were out in Brooklyn, and suddenly we discovered that there was this random Friday matinee of Hamilton, which is kind of a strange thing. So George popped onto the resale site, just thinking maybe because this is a weird showtime, people don't know as much about it. And there were the $800 tickets and the $4,000 tickets. And lo and behold, there were 4 tickets for $343 each. This was so exciting. George was just about to buy 2 tickets, and then he stopped. And he started to think about it. And he said, $343 for a theater ticket? How dare they? How dare anybody sell a theater ticket? And how dare anybody buy a theater ticket for who are these people that are buying these tickets for $300? And it was sort of a rant about the 1% and, you know, the rich getting richer. And while this was happening, all of a sudden, the 4 tickets disappeared, and they were gone. Well, now George was really furious at himself, because he didn't buy the 2 tickets for $343. He even briefly discussed buying the $800 tickets, because now he was like all revved up. And suddenly 2 of the tickets reappeared on the site. And now they were only $320, so we just saved $23 per ticket. So lightning fast, George whips out his bank card, he's buying the tickets, and then it says, it's gonna take up to 30 minutes for your order to be confirmed. Well, now we have a couple of problems. The matinee is at 2, which by George's clock means we must be there by 1:30 or we're not going. So that's the thing about George. He gets everywhere early. I've come to find it endearing. That's another thing about marriage. It's about endearment, you know. But there's more problems than that. One is that you have to have your paper ticket when you get there. You cannot just show them your phone, and we don't have a printer in Brooklyn. Another problem is that we haven't eaten all day. So it's about 12:15, and we're like on pins and needles about these tickets. And because marriage is also about teamwork, I spring into action. And I go on the net, and I find that there's the Richard Rodgers Theater, 46th, that's where Hamilton is. At 48th, there's a Staples. So George can print the tickets at Staples. And I realize with joy, at 50th and 8th is the cafe that sells my favorite tuna fish salad in the world. I am completely obsessed with this tuna fish salad. And not even just the tuna salad, but they have this lemon vinaigrette dressing that goes with the tuna salad. It will blow your mind. So we get our plan. Now the phone rings, and it's the bank calling George to confirm that he is indeed the person who just spent $640 on 2 tickets to Hamilton. Which he is. So we fly out the door, we're on the train into the city. It takes us an hour to get into the city. It's now exactly 12:30, and we have exactly an hour to get to the theater. And we're on the train, and I suddenly realize another endearing thing about George is most of the time when he goes to see live music of any kind, he sings along. And he sings along not because he's so in love with his own singing, but because he loves the music, and he also loves to support the artist. So George singing along is really George letting the artist know how much he appreciates them, which is beautiful and very endearing. And also letting all the people around him know how much he loves the artist. But we're suddenly on the train and I realize, oh my God, George, you cannot sing along at Hamilton. Everyone around us will have spent $800 to $8,000 to be sitting in that theater. They might not find you as endearing as I do. So I said, you cannot sing along when we get there. I said, if you sing, I am leaving. So he understood. He said, no, that's fine. I get it. Okay, fine. So we get out of 50th and 8th. I run into the sandwich shop. George goes 2 blocks to the Staples. I get my tuna salad. I go to the Staples. I pick up George. He's just printed the tickets. We go to 46th Street. We get on the line that goes all the way down the block to get into the Richard Rodgers Theater. And I peel the lid back, and I'm just taking my first bite of my most favorite salad in the whole world that I'm obsessed with. And they open the doors down the block to Hamilton. And I thought, that's fine, I got plenty of time. I'm gonna shove this thing in my mouth, it's gonna be no problem. So we're inching forward towards the theater door, and I am inhaling this tuna salad as quickly as I can. We get about halfway, and George says, you have to throw that away right now. And I said, no, but this is my favorite salad. We don't live in New York anymore. He said, listen to me. I told you I would not sing, and I agreed. Now you have to throw that salad away, because you don't know if you can bring that in, and you probably can't. And I looked at 2/3 of my most favorite tuna salad, but I knew that George was right because marriage is about making deals. So I ran to the corner, I dumped the whole salad, I came back just as we got to the front, we scanned in, we were in the lobby, and then we had to divide and conquer. So George went to the merch booth to hopefully not buy out the entire Hamilton merch booth. And because marriage is about familiarity, I know what I have to get him at the concession stand. So I run over to the concession stand, I get him a large peanut M&Ms and a red wine, and we meet again in the center, and we go up to the mezzanine, and we get in our seats, and we sit in our seats, and they're great seats, and the lights come down, and the light comes up on the stage, and Aaron Burr comes out onto the stage, and all of a sudden, I am crying. I am overwhelmed with tears of joy. Not because I am seeing Hamilton, but because George is seeing Hamilton. And I know what this means to him and how fulfilling this is to him and how happy he is to be there. And I can see out of the corner of my eye that he is just grinning ear to ear. He's mouthing the words a little. He's not singing, but he's mouthing. And that was the final thing that I realized, is that marriage is about being happier when the person you love is happy than when you are happy yourself. And I got to learn all of those lessons for just the low, low price of $640. So, thank you.